Being a fellow at Georgetown definitely impacted how I think about politics as a practitioner. I think it's really easy when you've worked on 20 campaigns and been in the middle of, very heated presidential campaign to think about these things only in terms of tactics and in terms of what the insider chatter and conversation is. What the students really helped me with was to understand, that there is sort of a world outside of that.
We really had lively back and forth, not only in the discussion group, but also in office hours where people wanted to push and make me kind of reflect on why I hold the values that I do and why I advocate for the policies that I do, which is always useful to get pushed and go back to basics on some of the stuff.
I think something students taught me is actually relearning to be brave when I speak in public, because I was telling all of them, don't be afraid to be the weirdo in the room. Be the weirdo in the room. Rooms need weirdos. They need people who say things that other people aren't thinking. But I can't tell a bunch of students to be brave and then not do it myself. So that was very inspiring, and I hope that I did the same for them, but they definitely did it for me.
I think that it was incredibly refreshing to work with the Georgetown students. I don't think that I've ever been around a more impressive group of undergraduates and graduate students. In my travels from university to university around the country, I very rarely found kids as informed as the Georgetown kids.
It was exciting to be able to talk to them while the election was happening in real time. Debriefing after the debates was some of the most fun that we had. Putting them on the spot, I wasn't really expecting them to have kind of the insight that they had.
Very thoughtful, very attentive. It was like having a meeting with senior advisors on the campaign.
I wanted students to think outside of the box, sometimes even argue the other side of the policy.
Sometimes there is a generational divide on the importance of free speech, which is why I talk about this and talk about it to college students. So to have so many students interested in it and sort of push some boundaries and argue with me about it and be enthusiastic in their thinking on this issue was rewarding.
Students these days are a lot more engaged in politics than they were when I was in college. And I think that's a really, really good thing. Seeing the next generation be so invested in this in a way that, people 15, 17, whatever years ago were not.
So I think that the thing that I most took away from it is that it gave me a lot of hope for the future of our country, that there's such an amazing group of kids, both, on the left and the right, who are interested in politics and smart and friendly and willing to serve.
One thing that the students taught me is that our politics really do not have to be as rancorous as they are, and that there really is value in learning as a young person how to civically engage with people in a civil way.
What I took away from it is that these students, some of them incredibly progressive, some of them incredibly conservative, had a respect for each other and for me that just gives me a little bit of hope for our country and the direction of our country. Because if we can have this type of relationship, if we can have these types of discussions, if we can have these types of discoveries, I think our future is bright, especially if these students are the ones that are going to be leading tomorrow.